What's up, everybody? John Eric Poli here with My MMA News, and today's guest be fighting Nikita Mikhailov at Bellator 290 on February 4th. Pleased today to be joined by Darrion Caldwell. Darrion, thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate the time. Today's a media day for you. You have interviews lined up one after another, so I appreciate you squeezing this one in and making the time for us.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure.
So let's start here. This is your first fight in over a year. Just talk about like what the last year's kind of been like, and just how excited you are to get to go out and compete again.
Well, it's been a long year. Um, it's been a reflection year for me on where I stand in the sport, at the moment and moving forward. Um, for a while, for me, when I first started, for me, MMA has always been my life. Um, it's everything I know. I'm all I know is combat sports. Growing up wrestling, wrestling through college, and then straight after college, I jumped right into MMA. So it's always been my life. And at some point, it became more of a sport. And I feel like as of late, it started to shift back to being more of my life. I feel like I let that slip away from me to where it's more about just, being in the sport of MMA instead of, this is what dictates everything about my being, at this moment in my 35 uh, year lifespan. So just really that these 13 months has really put things in perspective that this isn't just a sport for me. It's my career, it's my life.
I say just talk about that whole process just a little bit too, because the mental side of the sport is something that I feel like a lot of times people forget about that it's out there. It's like obviously this 13 months, a lot of it seems to me based off that answer, a lot of it was more mental than physical. Just talk about like that whole process of just being able to come together with all of these terms and getting yourself mentally back ready to go here.
Yeah, everything's mental, man. Obviously, we all hear it's about 90% mental, and about 10% physical, but, it's easy to, when you're given a God-given ability, it's easy to just kind of coast, you know, and for a while, I'm waking up, I got training every day, and I know I got a fight in 2 months, but I'm waking up and I'm coasting, and so the focus has to be laser. When you have a goal, and you're not doing everything to accomplish that goal, you know, it's like you're just wasting time. And so for me, every day I wake up now is just about getting better, 1%, however I got to do it. Whether it's in the weight room, I'm getting better in the weight room. Whether I come here Wednesday, Monday, and wrestle, I'm just making sure I'm showing up and giving my best efforts. And when you've done it at a high level for so long, it's easy to be like, all right, well, my 65% is better than this guy's 100%. So why am I giving 100%? Well, you give 100% because the battle isn't against other guys. The battle's got to be with it against you. And when I start to believe and start to put that back into my regiment, it's not me against these guys that I'm coming to train against, me against the guys that I'm fighting against. It's me against me. The bar goes up, because I know if I'm fighting a Darrion Caldwell, I have to put myself in the best position. That means I got to work as hard as I can. And so for me, it's me against me. And that's how I'm stepping into the cage. I'm stepping into camps. I'm stepping into my career. Best foot forward, me versus me from here on out.
So I want to get your take on something, because a lot of what you were saying kind of makes me think about, I'm a big Green Bay Packers fan, and I've watched like every Aaron Rodgers interview that he's ever done for the past however many years, and he talks a lot about different things, like kind of like what you're saying, like where, if he's going to make a commitment to playing football, it's going to be he's 100% in. There's no days where you could coast, kind of like you were saying. Another thing that he said that I found interesting was where he talks about, when things are rough or if you're going through a losing streak, where kind of the best thing to do is to kind of simplify things and get back down to basics and not try to get too worked up in a lot of the outside stuff and just do the simple things the best you can do. Given everything that's going on in your career at the moment, do you relate to that as well? Like when you're in practice, that it's just about looking at those little simple things and finding out those details and not worrying about trying to do more than what you could control?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things here at the gym is KISS, KISS. And it's very, very simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Um, and that's one of Henry Huth's sayings. And it just makes all the sense in the world, you know. It goes from when I'm coaching kids wrestling. I go to these schools around the state or the country, and I got these kids always all wanting to do like these fancy moves, like, oh, I seen you do this and I seen you do this, you know, but they barely know how to do a simple double leg, you know. So um, sticking to the basics, you know, making it 1+1 and not 1 times 1, you know. Um, so we're just trying to keep it everything simple. But for me, one of the things I've been trying to focus on is just control what you can control. You know, I don't have control over who I'm fighting, when I'm fighting, you know, where I'm fighting, but I do have control over my attitude, how I show up every day. You know, when I'm coming into the gym, how hard I work, you know, that's gonna dictate everything come fight night. You know, so controlling what I can control, winning the small battles, you know, because a lot of times we get caught up in, you know, the end result. But we all know in life, you know, it's not about the fight. It's never been about the tip of the iceberg. It's always what's happening, you know, in that water, you know, underneath, you know, all the, you know, accomplishments and, you know, before you get your hand raised, you know, what are you doing before that, you know? And so just making it as easy on myself as possible by just showing up, you know, dictating my effort, my attitude. Um, and it just makes everything so much easy when you got a team full of dedicated coaches, um, full of dedicated training partners, you know. And even though, you know, we don't all have the same goals, you know, we're all working together, you know, with one common thing, and that's to get each other better, you know. Like my goal is to make sure as as I'm getting better, you know, as I'm improving, my training partner is improving, you know. And it's just like a snowball effect here. You know, I feel like this year is really going to be a big year for not only myself, you know, but Kill Cliff as a whole.
Yeah, and it's a perfect segue now to my next question because I wanted to ask you about Kill Cliff. Let's start with training camp right now. Just kind of how's camp been, and just what's the early feel here for the gym early on here in 2023?
Well, camp's been great. um, I've been putting a lot of work in this camp. Coaches have been putting a lot of work in for me. Um, outside of, you know, what I'm used to. You know, I'm not gonna go backwards and you know what I wasn't getting, you know, prior to being here. But you know, the most important thing is right now everybody's leading with their best foot forward. We all got the same goal, you know, and that's improve daily. You know, and I know if as long as we're improving, you know, I'm improving and is the atmosphere. It's almost impossible not to get better. You know, uh, there's no easy rounds here at Kill Cliff. So for me, I'm just I'm going with stud after stud after stud after stud. You know, so it's just like come fight night, it's gonna be a ice. It's just gonna be a piece of cake. You know, I'm not taking this guy lightly. You know, but again, I'm training to beat myself. You know, and so as long as I'm training to beat myself, um, I don't see I don't see how the night February 4th doesn't go as planned with the work we've been putting in.
And I got to ask you about one guy in particular down there at Kill Cliff, Mickey Gall, fellow New Jersey guy like yourself there. Mickey, I've been interviewing him for years. He's a great guy. I haven't heard from him a little bit. I hope he's doing well. Please send him my best. Just how's Mickey been doing down there?
Mickey's doing great down here, man. He fit right in with the team. It's like what, maybe about 5 or 6 Jersey guys. So we came in here, we came in here and we're like, oh shit, you from Jersey? Oh shit, you from Jersey? Oh shit, you from Jersey? And it kind of just felt like kind of that New Jersey wrestling atmosphere. Just we all just hit the ground running together. And it's kind of crazy because we all came in together with myself and Mickey, and we got Richie Savage, just a few other guys, just to name a few.
Jersey connection running deep down there in Florida. Let's get back into some fight specifics now here. I want to ask you about your opponent, just what you kind of seen out of him so far and what you're expecting on fight night and how you kind of see all this whole fight playing out here.
Well, I expect him to be tough. He comes from a great camp, great background. I expect him to come out guns blazing, doing everything he can to, win this fight. But overall, I just don't feel like he's mature enough. He's strong enough. He's not explosive enough. And it's just going to show February 4th.
And then just one more fight-related question. Then I'm going to actually ask you a few one or two questions about NC State wrestling. But let's start with one last thing here for MMA related for this year, 2023. What are the long-term goals for the year here?
One more time.
What are your goals for 2023?
My goals for the 2023?
Yes.
My goal is just to keep getting better, keep building off of what we've been doing these last 6 months, and win fights. More than anything, win fights. And that's about it.
All right, so let's talk some college wrestling here. You, of course, fantastic wrestler at NC State. You win a national title. I want to go back to that moment in time. I was watching the match the other day. What an amazing accomplishment to go out there. You're facing the defending champ who's undefeated, massive upset. Just talk about that moment and when you kind of look back at it and what that meant to you winning that national championship and where it kind of ranks in your career.
Well, that obviously gave me a platform outside after wrestling. It's funny because I always say, like, if Instagram was around when I won nationals, I'd have 1 million followers. But I just happen to have like 1 million people sitting in my Facebook inbox trying to wait or trying to get a request. But I feel like around the time that I won, it was big for the sport of wrestling because that time you always seen guys that were supposed to win it. And ever since, I feel like that upset, you see guys going to non-traditional schools and winning big titles, winning national titles. So I feel like that really just put the schools that aren't like the Iowas or the Big Tens on a map and just got kids wanting to go to schools that weren't traditionally the Big Ten or Big 12 schools, and know they can succeed there.
And obviously, you've accomplished so much in your athletic career, whether it be in MMA or in wrestling. Just that moment right there when you won that national title, where's that rank? Because for many people, that's got to be the crowning achievement there. Obviously, you've went on to MMA and done a lot of great things, but where's that national title rank in things?
Well, that's definitely my greatest wrestling accomplishment. In terms of sports accomplishment, I feel like for some people, it may have been a bigger feat for me to beat a Brent Metcalf in the national NCAA finals, but to be a world champion for Bellator is just unmatched, So my biggest accomplishment to date is winning the title here at Bellator and then defending, obviously. And like when I do it like a minute and a half, I dispatched Leandro Higo, which after I tear this guy up, after I beat this dude, if Leandro want that rematch, which I'm sure you don't, I don't mind beating him in a minute and a half again. But I feel like definitely that title defense, as well as me claiming the title, is my biggest accomplishments in sports.
All right, man. I just got one last question for you, and we'll wrap things up here today. This is something I always wondered. I love your nickname, and it's very basic, right? The Wolf. But I don't know what it is. It's different. To me, it's unique. I really like it. How'd you come up with that? Does it have anything to do with NC State?
Absolutely, I'm a Wolfpack representative, so it just kind of fit. Back in my college wrestling days, with me being the only national champ that year, and I think the only All American that year, I guess the word was that I kind of put the team on my back, and I carried the team. Win Magazine did this article, and on the front page it said the one man Wolfpack. And I knew that I was the Wolf after that article, so it kind of just stuck.
All right, man. Appreciate all the time here today. Last thing before you head out, social media so people know where to follow you at. You have any management or sponsorships or anything like that you got to give plugs to? Take it away.
No, well, I'm just excited to perform February 4th. I'm really happy with the way our training camp's been going. Key nutrients, Get Biofuel MMA, and Kill Cliff have really been extremely helpful in this camp. So big shout out to them.
All right, Darrion, thanks again so much for all the time, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks again for being accommodating and fitting us into the media schedule here. Just a reminder, everybody, again out there, Darrion fighting at Bellator 290, fight date February 4th. Do me a favor, if you guys enjoyed today's interview, make sure to go to the bottom, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you guys are keeping your tabs on MyMMANews.com, checking out all our great work that comes out literally every single day of the week. Make sure to go to our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Give us likes and follows on there as well. We'll see you later, everybody.